My husband tried to sabotage my promotion. And it was the single best thing he ever did for my career. Not because he meant it that way, but because of what I did next and what he never saw coming. If you have ever worked twice as hard just to be taken half as seriously, stay with me. Because this one is for you. My name is Vivian Cole. I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, middle child, 3 sisters, a household that ran on sweet tea, Sunday dinners, and one unspoken rule. You do not air your business in the street. My mama worked double shifts at the hospital for 15 years to make sure we had options she never got. So when I tell you I took ambition seriously, I mean I took it the way people take breathing seriously. It was not optional. It was not a personality trait. It was survival. I got my MBA at 30. Started at Hargrove & Lane, a mid-size marketing consultancy in Uptown Charlotte, as a senior account manager at 31. By 33, I had brought in 4 of their top 10 clients, built a team of 8 from scratch, and was running campaigns that won regional awards. I was not waiting for someone to notice me. I made myself impossible to overlook. Maybe you know that feeling, when you've outworked the doubt, outlasted the skeptics, and you can finally feel the ground solid under your feet. That was me. Right up until the moment I got home one evening and made a mistake that would test everything I had built. And then I married Derek. Now, I want to be fair here, because Derek wasn't always who he became. When we met, he was driven. Charming. The kind of man who showed up to dates with a plan, asked real questions, and made you feel like the most interesting person in the room. We dated for 2 years. Got married in a vineyard outside Asheville on an October Saturday with the leaves turning and my grandmama in the front row, clutching her purse like she was holding it together for all of us. The first year was good. The second year was fine. By the third year, I could feel something shift. That slow, subtle kind of shift that doesn't announce itself. It just shows up one morning and you realize the temperature in the room has been dropping for months, and you've just been adding layers instead of asking why it's cold. Derek had his own business, a landscaping company he'd built over 6 years. The pandemic had hit it sideways and he never fully recovered the momentum. And somewhere in that struggle, something changed in him. He got quieter about his work and louder about mine. Started making little comments at dinner. The kind that sound like jokes but land like something else. Must be nice to have a corporate safety net. Another award? They really love handing those out. If you've ever had someone close to you chip away at you in small doses, you know exactly how that works. You tell yourself it's the stress. You tell yourself it's temporary. You keep the peace. And that choice to keep the peace instead of speaking your truth? That's its own kind of slow damage. I'm still unpacking it in therapy on Tuesday afternoons. But here's where everything changed. VP of Client Strategy. The role I had been working toward for 3 years. My direct supervisor, Diane, pulled me into her office in February and told me flat out, "Vivian, this is yours. We're putting your name forward. It goes to the board in April." I walked out of that office, sat in my car, and cried the good kind of cry. The kind that comes from a long time of hard work finally being seen. And then I made the mistake of telling Derek that same night. That is exactly where this story gets real interesting. I noticed the change in Derek the very next morning. He got quiet over breakfast. Not a peaceful quiet, a calculating quiet. He asked me a few casual questions about the promotion. Who was on the board? How decisions worked? Whether external references played a role. I answered because I had no reason not to. He was my husband. I thought he was just being curious. I did not think he was taking notes. 3 weeks later, I was having lunch with my friend Sasha. We go back to undergrad. She knows everything about everybody and is completely unbothered by all of it. She worked in HR consulting and had a contact at a firm that did board advisory work for companies like mine. That contact had mentioned, offhand, that someone had reached out anonymously with concerns about a candidate being considered for a VP role at Hargrove & Lane. Vague concerns. Unprofessional conduct. Questions about client relationship ethics. Nothing specific enough to be actionable, but enough to plant a seed. Sasha looked at me across that table and said, "Viv, who knew about your promotion besides people at work?" I put my fork down. I didn't say Derek's name out loud. I didn't have to. Sasha had been reading my face for 15 years. She just nodded slow, the way you nod when something terrible confirms something you already suspected. Here is what I did not do. I did not go home and confront him. I did not cry. I did not call my mama, even though every bone in my body wanted to, because my mama would have driven straight to Charlotte and that would not have been helpful for anyone involved. I sat with it. I let it settle. And then I made a phone call that Derek had absolutely no idea I had the ability to make. See, here's something about me. I don't talk about my network at home the same way I don't discuss my salary in detail or my savings account balance. Not out of secrecy, out of self-preservation. My grandmama always said, "Don't show all your cards at the dinner table." I had taken that advice and built a whole philosophy around it. 2 years before all of this, I had worked on a rebranding campaign for a non-profit gala in Charlotte. One of the keynote speakers that night was a woman named Dr. Sandra Okafor, founder and CEO of a communications holding company that had quietly acquired 4 mid-size firms in the Southeast over the past decade, including, as of 18 months ago, Hargrove and Lane. We had talked for 40 minutes at that gala dinner. We stayed in touch. She had sent me a handwritten note when I won my last industry award. It was sitting in my desk drawer at home, pressed flat under a book. I called Dr. Okafor on a Wednesday afternoon from my car in the parking deck at work. She picked up on the 3rd ring. I told her everything, not emotionally, but cleanly. Factually. The way you present information to someone whose time you respect. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for exactly 4 seconds. Then she said, "Vivian, I'm going to need you to come in on Friday." I showed up on Friday in my best suit. The VP offer was formalized by end of business that same afternoon. Not recommended, formalized. Signed, sealed, and sent to my personal email before I even made it back to my car. Derek was in the kitchen when I got home. Making dinner. Talking about his day. Completely normal. I set my bag down, poured myself a glass of water, and I smiled at him across that kitchen counter with the warmest, most genuine smile I could manage. Because I had already won. He just didn't know it yet. Here's what I want you to take from this. Your network is your net worth. But only if you protect it, nurture it, and never let anyone else see the full hand you're holding. The people who underestimate you are counting on you to react. Don't react. Respond. Quietly. Strategically. Completely. And if you're sitting somewhere right now feeling like someone in your life is quietly rooting against you, keep going. Keep building. Keep showing up. Because the best revenge isn't confrontation. It's becoming. Now I want to hear from you. Has someone ever underestimated you, tried to hold you back, and it backfired on them? Tell me your story in the comments below. I read every single one. And if this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button because I share stories like this every single week. Real stories. Real women. Real wins. I'll see you in the next one.